Hotel family, welcome back to Matthew Daniels TV. I'm your host, Matthew Daniels, the writer, author, scribe, and bookworm. But I'm not just a bookworm world, I am the real bookworm. Make sure you get it right. I'm doing the book game like it ain't never been done before, and I'm doing the book game like it'll probably never be done again. Happy National Black History Month. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys see the title. Today, we're going to be dealing with part 4 of the declassified Dr. King assassination files. And we finally made it to the portion of the files where it's talking about the alleged Dr. King assassin, James Earl Ray. All right, we've made it to the part in the files where they're going to be talking about the alleged Dr. King assassin, James Earl Ray. The escaped the escaped convict. If you haven't already, make sure you go back on my channel, watch part 1, part 2, and part 3. It'll build up to what we're going to be discussing here in part 4. Now give me just a second. Let me pull something up so I can check the video and the audio, make sure everything is working correctly, and we're going to get right off into it. Give me just a second. Video. Okay, video is working good. Audio is working good. Let me pull up the screen share. And we're going to get right back into the files. Happy National Black History Month, everybody. In honor of Black History Month, we're doing a deep dive into the declassified files pertaining to Dr. King's assassination. Okay, so here we go. We're on page 65. And now they're going to be talking about the story of James Earl Ray. Now, in the last video, we found out that when James Earl Ray assassinated Dr. King, or allegedly assassinated Dr. King, this dude was actually on the run. He was serving a 20-year sentence for robbing a Kroger's. He escaped from prison on a bread truck, and then he was on the run for around a year. And after being on the run for a year, he assassinates Dr. King. All of this sounds funny. All of this sounds funny. Why would a man on the run just come up out of nowhere and assassinate King? How would he know where to find King? How was he able to get these vehicles, these hotels? How was he able to get these different aliases, these different passports? How was he able to get the gun, the ammunition? All of this sounds funny for a man who was literally an escaped convict. How was he moving around like this? And not only was James Earl Ray moving around through the country, the man was going from state to state. We have evidence of him being in California. We have evidence of him being in Atlanta. We have evidence of him being in Birmingham, Alabama. We have evidence of him being in Memphis, Tennessee. We have evidence of him being in Mexico. We have evidence of him being in Canada. We even have evidence of him traveling overseas. Get this, traveling overseas to London, Belgium, and I believe it's Portugal. All of this for a man who has escaped from prison and is literally on the run. How was he able to do all of this? How was he able to fund his activities? There had to have been an unseen hand helping James Earl Ray. But let's get back into the documents and we'll see where these pieces of evidence take us. So it says, chronology of Ray's activities on and after April 23rd, 1967. So April 23rd, 1967, that is when he escaped from prison. And remember, Dr. King was assassinated April 4th, 1968. So right around 1 year after escaping from prison, he allegedly kills Dr. King. On Sunday, the 23rd of April, 1967, after he had served 7 years of a 20-year sentence for armed robbery in the Missouri State Penitentiary at Jefferson City, James Earl Ray escaped. So he done 7 on the 20, he escapes. When a truck appeared at the prison bakery where Ray worked, a bread box was carried onto the truck to be delivered to a nearby prison farm. Ray had concealed himself inside the bread box and later fled from the prison truck at a stop prior to its reaching the Wren's prison farm. Also remember, James Earl Ray, prior to having his life of crime, he has military training as well. Ray allegedly headed first towards Kansas City. On the third day, he burglarized a trailer sitting by the Missouri River, taking a blanket and food. For the next 3 nights, he made his way along the railroad in the direction of Kansas City. He made his in the direction of Kansas City to a city large enough so he would not be noticed, and took a train to St. Louis. He then took a taxi cab to East St. Louis, called a friend who drove him to Edwardsville, whence he caught a bus from Chicago. So we already see, after he escapes out of prison, he's on the move. He's on the move. He's going from city to city. Obviously, they couldn't track him down. They couldn't find him because he was on the run for a year. So now this is around May 3rd. On May 3rd, Ray secured work for the night, 8 weeks as a dishwasher and cook's helper at the Indian Trail restaurant in Winnetka, Illinois, and resided at 2731 North Sheffield in Chicago under the name John L. Raines. He purchased a 1959 Chrysler automobile from a private owner on June 5th for $200. So I guess, I don't know how he got this job. I don't know how he got a fake ID to get a job working under a false name and to have enough to be able to find somewhere to stay. He had somewhere to stay. Then he was able to purchase a automobile. This is all a few months after escaping from prison. So this is an escapee. On June 9th, he failed the driver's test, but passed the test on June 12th. So now he's taking driver's test, I imagine, to get a driver's license under a fake name. Ray moved from his Sheffield address to 1648 Lunch Street on June 17th, where he paid 1 week's rent. Ray was issued a driver's permit in the name of John L. Raines for the state of Illinois on June 21st. During the week of June 19th, Ray left his job and requested that his final paycheck be forwarded to the Lunch Street address, which it was 518. Okay. Thereafter, on July 14th, Ray purchased a 1962 Plymouth automobile from a commercial dealer in East St. Louis, Illinois, and transferred the license plates from the Chrysler to the Plymouth. So now he's escaped from jail. Let's see, he escaped from jail in April, May, June, July. So this is an escaped convict. And within 3 months, he's gotten a job. He's gotten a driver's permit under a fake name. So he has fake identification cards for this name. He's lived at several different addresses, and he's purchased 2 vehicles in 3 months. I'm a regular legit citizen with real papers that's not on the run, and I can't buy 2 different vehicles in 2 months, bounce from address to address. This is crazy. This is crazy. This dude was having help. You can't convince me otherwise. Look, leaving East St. Louis on July the 15th, Ray proceeded to Montreal, Canada via Indianapolis, Detroit, and Windsor. So now, 3 months after escaping from prison, he's bouncing from city to city, having jobs, having apartments, to leasing out apartments, getting a driver's permit. He purchases 2 different vehicles. Then he goes all the way to Montreal, Canada. This guy goes from one country to the next. His prime objective was allegedly to secure a Canadian passport. As John L. Raines, he registered for an overnight stay at the Beauregard Motel in Dorion, just west of Montreal. So now the guy's in Canada. Next, Ray first used the alias Eric S. Galt when he signed a 6-month lease for an apartment in Harcade Apartments, North 2589 Notre Dame East in Montreal. So when he somehow funds his trip, he leases an apartment for 6 months. He creates a totally new alias once he gets to Canada, and he posts up in an apartment in Canada. Escaped convict, and they want us to believe he didn't have no help. Ray then allegedly held up a food store stealing $1,700. Okay, so now they say he committed another robbery. He stole $1,700, which was a lot of money in 1967. The following day, he spent $300 for new clothes at the Tip Top Tailors, 488 St. Catherine West, had his hair cut and manicured at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel. And it's odd that they know all these details about him. He also ordered on July 21st a $75 tailor-made suit at the English and Scott Woolen Company. About a month and a half later, by a letter from Birmingham dated September 6, 1967, this tailoring company was instructed by Ray to send the finished garment to him at his then Birmingham address. 3 days later, Ray ordered 3 sex books from Futura Books, Inc. in Inglewood, California, and on July 28th, he enrolled in a correspondence course at the Locksmithing Institute, Little Falls, New Jersey. Both matters were paid by Canadian money orders. Ray vacationed beginning July 30th at the Grey Rocks Inn on Lake Quemet in the Laurentian Mountains, seeking, according to Ray, contact with a respectable woman to vouch for him on a passport application. So while he's doing all of that, he's taking vacations as well. He was picked up by a female Canadian government employee and her girlfriend and spent the next few days with them before leaving on August 7th. Now that's odd that they would say that he was picked up by a female Canadian government employee. This man that is an escaped convict, and this man who they say just robbed a store for $1,700. This guy is in contact with a female Canadian government employee. The plot thickens. The two women followed, stayed overnight with Ray in Montreal on August 7th, and then returned to their residences in Ottawa. On August 9th, he purchased by money order a formula for making glass for a two-way mirror. Then, on August 19th, Ray visited the government employee in Ottawa, but did not importune her to assist him on his passport application. What does this guy need with a two-way mirror? This is funny. This is funny. During the approximately 2.5 months of Ray's stay in Canada, he relates meeting an underworld character named Raoul. After negotiations, Ray stated to Arthur Huey that he engaged in smuggling operations with Raoul and then proceeded to Birmingham to meet Raoul at the latter's direction. Meanwhile, he stayed at the town and country motel Ottawa from August 18th to August 20th. Now, this is important because at one point, James Earl Ray confessed, right? He pled guilty to the assassination of Dr. King. But he then said that he only pled guilty because they were trying to give him the death penalty for it. And if he pled guilty, he would get life and he wouldn't get the death penalty. And he said that he had encountered some guy that went by the name of Raoul, who literally could have been like somebody that's working for the FBI. Let's not be foolish. that had basically, I don't want to say hired, but had made him into a government asset. They call people like James Earl Ray assets. They use them for false flags, right? They use them for things. They use them to be patsies. And so I believe that he was assisted in escaping from prison. Yeah, people escape from prison all the time. Sometimes they escape and they're gone for a long time. Don't get me wrong. But with the controversy surrounding him and his Dr. King, we have to recognize that something more is going on here. This guy breaks out of prison. Immediately, he gets his hand on money. He gets his hand on fake IDs. He gets his hand on the driver's license with his fake name on it. He's able to go from city to city. He's able to purchase cars. He's able to get apartments in his name, and he's able to make it to Canada. He gets to Canada. He's talking about he's in contact with government officials in Canada. I don't know what type of government officials, what type of government employee this lady was, but he's in contact with different government employees. Then he comes in contact with somebody named, quote unquote, Raul, that he engages in a smuggling operation with. What were they smuggling? I don't know. Perhaps they'll get into that later on in the documents. But this Raul was likely J. Edgar Hoover. But not J. Edgar Hoover directly. You know, he was the big dog. But likely somebody that's working for J. Edgar Hoover. You understand what I'm saying? I think James Earl Ray was a patsy. And the fact that he has all of this suspicious stuff going on, you can't convince me that he didn't have help. Whatever may be the truth of the story, Ray left Montreal, met his brother at Northbrook, Illinois, gave his Plymouth car to his brother, Jerry Ryan, proceeded from Northbrook or Chicago to Birmingham, stayed August 26th at the Granada Hotel, 2230 4th Avenue as John L. Rhines, and that same day also took a room in the name Eric L. Galt at the Economy Rooms, 2608 Highland Avenue. So now, get this. So he talks to a female government employee in Canada. He runs into a mysterious character named Raul in Canada. This guy has him doing some illicit business. Now, James Earl Ray now has two aliases on the books that he has illegal documents for. He's James Earl Ray, he's John L. Raines, and he's Eric S. Galt. So he leaves Canada, he crosses the border again. You hear me? He crosses the border again after not only being on the run, he's an escaped convict. We have to remember that. This is an escaped convict. That changes everything. This is not just a guy going about his life. This is an escaped convict doing all of this. He crosses the border after this. They're saying, remember, they were saying that he robbed a place for $1,700 in Canada. So he's being looked for by the Canadian officials for robbery, allegedly. He crosses the border, comes back to the United States, goes to Illinois, and from Illinois, he goes to Chicago, and from Chicago, he goes to Birmingham, Alabama. Now, in Birmingham, Alabama, this guy has so much money to do the traveling. He gives away his car to his brother, but then not only that, he gets one hotel at the he gets one room at the Granada Hotel in one of his names, John L. Raines. Then he gets another hotel at the Economy Rooms under his other alias, Eric S. Galt. The money is flowing freely for this guy. And why does he need two hotel rooms? Why did he need a formula to make a two-way mirror? What is he talking to government informants for, or government employees? What does he need a two-way mirror for? This is getting interesting. But remember, all of this is leading up to the King assassination. I don't see anything yet about him wanting King dead, but let's see. 2 days later, Ray as Galt. So now he's living as 3 different people. 2 days later, Ray as Galt, giving the Highland Avenue address, rented safety deposit box number 5517 at the main office, Birmingham Trust National Bank. The access record on this box shows entries at 2:32 p.m. on August 28th, from 1:52 p.m. to 1:56 p.m. on September the 5th, from 11:05 to 11:08 a.m. on September 21st, and from 10:16 a.m. to 10:19 a.m. on September 28th. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've never had a safety deposit box, but I've watched it, people utilize them, in TV and movies. Now, this may be naive of me. This may not be how Hotel Brooklyn Zoo. This may not be how safety deposit box actually work. My mind may be manipulated by the movies, but most of the time, people put something inside of this safety deposit box that they want to keep safe. And then when they want to access it, they can go to the bank, use their key, go into the back room, open up their safety deposit box, and they have a certain amount of time that they can do whatever that they're going to do with this that's in the safety deposit box, and they can put it back and lock it up. So I want y'all to pay attention to something. He gets a safety deposit box, right? Now, on August 28th, he goes to access this box. He's there from 1:52 to 1:56, so he spends about 4 minutes with the box. He goes back a couple weeks later, about a week or two later, week and a half later, on September 5th. He's there from 11:05 to 11:08. He spends 3 minutes with the box. Then on September 21st, he goes back. He's there from 10:16 to 10:19, 3 minutes with the box. Right? So what was in that box? Did somebody else have access to that safety deposit box, and then they would go put in like information like, okay, what his next mission for the FBI was? We need you to do this. We need you to go here. He reads the message. He leaves it in the box. Later on, the FBI agent comes, opens the box, takes it out, leaves him another message when he's supposed to. And perhaps this was how he was communicating with the FBI, because we're under the impression now that he was working for the FBI. That's my thought. But what was going on with this safety deposit box? It gets stranger and stranger. This escaped convict. Look, the purchase of a white 1966 Ford Mustang was accomplished at the end of August by answering a newspaper ad on the 29th of August and paying $1,995 in cash to William D. Parsley on the 30th. So where did he get $2,000 from? Where is the money coming from? Cash money. And this isn't a regular $2,000. Back then, $2,000 was a lot more. On this, all this checks with the car purchase chronology. Ray himself admitted to Arthur William Bradford Huey. Ray's self-serving attribution of Raul as the one who directed him to buy the car and who supplied the cash is uncorroborated. So look, so he says out of his own mouth, James Earl Ray says that Raul told him to go buy the white Ford Mustang, and Raul gave him the money to do it. Now, the FBI files are saying that that's uncorroborated, but of course, they're not going to implement themselves. But wouldn't that make sense, family? Because we've been asking the whole time, where is he getting the money from? Somebody gave it to him. And isn't it odd that the white Ford Mustang was the getaway car when King was assassinated? He's saying that this guy Raul, this mysterious figure, is the one that told him to get it. Like they were the ones that were setting it up. And make no mistake about it, our government is not above assassinating people. They assassinate presidents. They assassinate political figures. They assassinate opponents. They dethrone governments halfway around the world. They'll do the same to us. Ray, as Eric Starvo Galt, applied for and was issued Alabama's driver's license number 2848947. So, so this guy's on the run. He gets one driver's permit under the fake name. What was his first fake name? I forgot. He gets one driver's permit under his first fake name, which was what was it? John L. Raines. So he gets a driver's license under John L. Raines. Then he's able to get another driver's license in Alabama under Eric Starvo Galt. Where does he get all these fake documents from? The signature matches the other handwritings of the same name. At some point during his stay in Birmingham, Ray purchased a .38 revolver, which was found on his person on his arrest in Heathrow Airport, London, England. Now remember, I told you guys, look, they say he got arrested in London, England. So not only did he go to Canada after quote unquote killing King, assassinating Dr. King, the dude made it all the way to Britain. The dude made it all the way to Britain. You see? And get this, family. I want y'all to really think. Look, I'm gonna read it again. See if y'all catch it. Then I'm gonna explain it. At some point during his stay in Birmingham, that's Birmingham, Alabama, Ray purchased a .38 revolver, which was found on his person on his arrest in Heathrow Airport, London, England. He purchases a gun in Birmingham, Alabama. He gets caught with this same gun in London, England. This guy went from the United States to Great Britain with a pistol. How is he making it through all of these checkpoints? And again, this isn't just a regular guy. This is an escape. So you have an escaped convict buying guns in Birmingham. Then you have this escaped convict taking illegal guns on planes, not just taking a plane and going to a destination. He went out of the country on a plane with a gun, landed in an entirely different country and got off the plane, and he still had his gun and he had the pistol on him when he landed in Great Britain, when he was in London, England. How can he do this without help? This is crazy. I never knew some of these details. I'm gonna be honest. I never knew some of these details about what happened with Dr. King and James Earl Ray. I'm glad we can read these files. On September 12th, Ray enrolled for 5 weekly dance. On September 12th, Ray enrolled for 5 weekly dance classes at the Continental Dance Club Studios. So the guy was taking dance classes, this escaped convict with pistols, working with Raul. How is he paying for this? He said Raul was giving him money. Come on, y'all. We can't be this foolish. We can't be this foolish, man. This dude was getting a check. This dude was getting a check from the FBI, man. Let's just be real, family. James Earl Ray was getting a check from the FBI. He was what they call an asset. Now, when they first made him an asset, I don't know if they planned on using him for the King assassination. That may have just come up where he was like the perfect patsy, but he definitely was an asset, man. He definitely was an asset because again, all of this is on the run. I can't stress that enough that this man has escaped from prison. He did 7 years on the 20 for robbery. And so everything that I'm reading, he's doing this on the run. This going to Canada, going to London, buying guns, getting money, buying cars, getting aliases. He's doing all this on the run. Look, the Modern Photographic Book Publishing Company, Inc. of New York City received a coupon order from Eric S. Galt for a photo book and a letter by Ray S. Galt written September 26, asking that the book not be sent as he was moving and would give the changed address later. The handwriting was identical with Ray's, and he's changing addresses so much. He's moving from place to place, apartment to apartment. Sometimes it's so good, he's getting multiple hotels and he getting 2 different hotels in 2 different names. He can't be in 2 places at once. Ray purchased a bank draft from the Exchange Security Bank, 5 Points South Branch, Birmingham, payable to the Superior Bulk Film Company of Chicago. And this accompanied an order on that company for a Kodak Super 8 movie camera, a projector, a splicer, and a 20-foot remote control cable. Price $337.24. Where did he get the money from? Then Ray typed a note to the film company 7 days later in which he acknowledged receipt of the items he had ordered, but returned the movie camera as the wrong one. He stated he was leaving for Mexico on October 7th and would send a new address to which the correct movie camera could be forwarded. On September 30th, Ray paid only for his room. Now the guy is about to go to Mexico. Now the escaped convict with all the money, 3 cars, multiple apartments, went to Canada, came back, is going to go to Mexico. Think, fam. Now, why is this important? If you escape from prison, I've been to prison before. Shame on me, right? Shame on me. I was not always an upstanding member of society, but I've been in prison before. And I can tell you this. The prisoners that I was with that had enough time, that was willing to escape, had they escaped and made it to Canada, they never would have came back to the United States, family. Why? You got a 20-year sentence and an escape charge waiting for you in the United States. You see? That's what I want you. That's why I keep saying it. I want that to settle in your spirit. An escaped convict made it all the way to Canada, had a whole new name and identity and license and driver's license. He had a whole new name in Canada. Why did this dude return to the United States? This escaped convict, why come back? Oh, you made it. You escaped. You got away. You can live the rest of your life in Canada. But he comes back to the United States. Then this same escaped convict now he's about to go to Mexico. What convict do you know will escape from prison, make it to Canada, come back to the United States, go to Mexico, and then come back to the United States? Oh, you know what? I want to just go back so I can assassinate Dr. King. If you make it to Mexico, think about it. Everybody understands if somebody escaped from prison, they make it all the way to Mexico. Hey, they finna live La Vida Loca in Mexico just for the rest of their life. They escaped. They're going to lay low in Mexico. They're not coming back. And listen, from the time he escaped to the time King was assassinated, it's only a year. So all of this stuff that I'm telling you about that he's doing, this is within months of escaping from prison. This guy wasn't on the run no 20 years, and we're saying within 20 years he went to Canada, he got a car, he went to Mexico. No, he wasn't on the run 20 years. The guy was on the run for a year. Literally, he was on the run for 3 months before he made it to Canada. Why did he come back? Why did he come back? They want to piss on us and tell us it's raining. They want to piss on us and tell us it's raining. Look, Ray, as Galt, was issued Alabama license tags number 1-038993 for 1968, the year King was killed. He left Birmingham for Mexico. Come on, man. He left Birmingham for Mexico on October 6th. On the 8th of October, Ray purchased a 30-day Mexican auto insurance policy. He reached Acapulco. He reached Acapulco on October 10th, proceeded to Guadalajara on October 15th, and left there on the 18th for Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, Mexico, arriving in Puerto Vallarta on the 19th. So he made it to Mexico. So a guy escapes from prison, makes it to Mexico, then he comes back to the United States to kill Dr. King. Get the heck out of here. Did you guys know that James Earl Ray was an escape? Did y'all know he was an escaped convict that made it to Canada and made it to Mexico? That's real talk, man. This is real talk. Y'all know in y'all spirit. You guys know in your own spirit that ain't nobody escaping from prison, going to Canada, and then coming back. Then going to Mexico and then coming back again. Nobody's going to play like that. Nobody's going to play like that. The escaped convict want to make it there and live out the rest of their life. Hold on. Let me get a drink of my coffee. Then we're going to keep reading. And now remember, in part 1, I read where when this document was being created by the FBI, they didn't plan on this being released to the general public. So yes, it's some stuff in here that they're covering the truth, but then it's some stuff in here that they're really just telling you exactly what happened because it's for their eyes only at the time. So let's see what else James Earl Ray Galt did. He registered in room 212 of the Hotel Rio at Morelos 86 on this date. His Galt signature and writings match his other Galt writings. Galt typed a letter to the film company to ask for a refund to the Puerto Vallarta address in lieu of the Kodak movie camera, which had been mailed, meanwhile, to his vacated Birmingham address. So what's happening, family, is he's being instructed to do this stuff. Somebody is telling him. That's probably what he was getting when he went to that security deposit box. It was probably like, okay, look, it's some money in there. Take this money, go to Mexico. When you go to Mexico, you're going to meet this person. You're going to do this, buy this, get this hotel, come back to the United States. Now, as of now, what we're seeing, he's working as an asset for the FBI. That's his job. And I'm willing to bet money they're the ones that helped him escape. They're the ones that helped him escape. We're not going to be fooled by this. Again, the written signature on this note matched the string of Galt signatures. For some reason, Huey says Ray said he wanted a week in a more expensive room in a hotel on the beach. Ray switched hotels, going from the Rio to the, excuse me, I had to burp. Ray switched hotels, going from the Rio to the Hotel Tropicana. He spent most of his time in the period from October 19th to November 13th, 1967, with a girlfriend, Irma Morales, whose true name is Manuela Aguirre Medrano, and possibly another female named Nina. So again, the same pattern. When he was in Canada, he was interacting with some females, one of which was a government employee. Now that he's in Mexico, they're talking about he's interacting with a girlfriend. Yeah, he may have pulled something while he was over there in Mexico, or these quote unquote Mexican females could have been FBI, CIA agents as well. They could have been his handlers. They could have been his handlers. But we also see the notion that Ray has access to money because he wanted to switch to a more expensive hotel room. He was like, why am I in this rundown room and I got all this money? Ray left Puerto Vallarta and drove to Los Angeles, where he rented an apartment at 1535 North Serrano Avenue on the 19th of November. So again, now he has more money to rent an apartment. Where's the money coming from? The FBI. He then wrote a typed letter to the Superior Bulk Film Company, Chicago, to forward to his new address the refund due him for the undelivered Kodak movie camera. The signature of this letter matches the other Galt signatures. In the second week of his stay in Los Angeles, Ray began a series of 6 visits to a clinical psychologist, Dr. Mark O. Freeman, in hopes of overcoming his shyness, gaining social confidence, learning self-hypnosis to gain relaxation, sleep, and remember things better. So he leaves from Mexico and he goes to Los Angeles, it appears. And while there, he has more money to visit a clinical psychologist. Now, a guy such as James Earl Ray, who's able to go to any state, any city, any country, and have it his way, definitely doesn't suffer from shyness. And he does not lack social confidence. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. But then also learning self-hypnosis to gain relaxation, sleep, and remember things better. Who knows who this clinical psychologist really was? It could have been another handler. I'm pretty sure he was directed to this guy. He was pretty sure he was directed to this guy. This could be some type of Manchurian candidate type of thing, right? You know, nothing's off the table. You know, we just talking. We family here. On Matthew Daniels TV. We family. This could have been some Manchurian candidate kind of thing. Why is he going to somebody that deals with self-hypnosis, deals with hypnosis? Can they hypnotize, or were they eventually planning on hypnotizing him, making him go and be the patsy for the Lorraine Motel, making him remember things that never actually happened in connection to killing Dr. King? And I want you guys to ask yourself a question. Have you read anything so far in his movement since he escaped from prison that would make you think he would want to kill Dr. King? They haven't even called him a white supremacist. They haven't even said that he's a member of the KKK. They haven't given us any motive yet. They may bring it up, but they haven't given us any motive on why this guy would want to kill Dr. King. Why would he want to do it? Don't even make no damn sense. He's a fucking criminal. Excuse my language. I don't want him to, YouTube is funny. He's a freaking criminal. He's on the run. You're on the run? You escape from prison and you just like, I want to assassinate the most famous black man in America. What? Apparently, in a further self-improvement step, Ray enrolled in a course of dancing instructions with the owner of the National Dance Studio, 2026 Pacific Avenue, Long Beach, California. What the hell is this dude doing getting dance lessons? He on the run. Get the hell out of here, man. On December 13th, Ray wrote his Birmingham bank to close his safety deposit box. So in December, he no longer needs the safety deposit box. He paid $100 on the dancing lesson contract on the 14th of December, left laundry at the Avalon Cleaners and Laundry, Inc., 5662 Hollywood Boulevard, Los Angeles, on the following day ticket, number 31053 and laundry mark 20R-3, made by a thermoseal marking machine. And also, on December 15th, Ray, as Galt, still began a round-trip drive with Charles J. Stein, 666, Franklin Avenue, Los Angeles to New Orleans, and Ray's Mustang to pick up Stein's sister, 2 small children. So now he's driving the Mustang from Los Angeles to New Orleans. Now remember, they haven't mentioned him having a job since Canada. And really, I don't think he had really too many jobs in Canada because he was up there robbing. So without a job, he's gotten fake IDs. He's made it back to the United States. He's made it to Mexico. He's getting several rooms in Mexico. He wants an expensive room in Mexico. He comes back to Los Angeles. He's doing all of this. Where is he getting the money from? The federal government. Stein and Ray arrived in New Orleans on the 17th. The latter registering at the Provincial Hotel, 1024 Chartres Street, room 126. The Galt registration card signature matched the string of such signatures in Ray's Odyssey, and he further recorded that he was driving a Mustang with Alabama license number 1-38993 and gave his address as 2608 Highland Avenue, Birmingham. Now, you see what they say, Ray's Odyssey? Odyssey is basically like a trip or a journey or a voyage. There was and I have to throw this in because you guys know I'm the real bookworm. I love history. I love to read. So when I see stuff like this, I like to talk about it. But the Greek poet Homer wrote 2 books that are probably the most famous Greek books in history. Now, he wrote this in about 700, 800 BCE, 700 to 800 years before the birth of Jesus, right? One of them is called the Iliad, and one of them is called the Odyssey. Now, the Iliad is about the Trojan War. You guys know the story where the 2 armies are fighting, and one of them builds a great horse. They hide their soldiers in the horse. They pull the wooden horse up to the gates of their enemy's compound and say, okay, we're going to surrender. We're leaving this horse as a gift. They bring the horse inside. They wait till nighttime. The soldiers come out. They catch everybody off guard. They slaughter the people. They let their army in. They defeat the city of Troy. There's a movie about it called Troy. That's what the Iliad is about. It's about the Trojan War. Now, a Greek warrior in the Iliad is a man named Odysseus. Odysseus, after fighting this 10-year Trojan War, gets on a boat. He sets out to go back to Greece, to his wife, to his homeland. While they're traveling, a strong gust of wind blows his boat off course. He gets lost. He ends up fighting cyclopses and beasts with 7 heads. And, many of his crewmates die. And for another 10 years, he's wandering the seas trying to make it home. And so you have the Iliad and Odyssey. It's kind of like a 2-part book. And so when they say Ray's Odyssey, they're talking about his journey, because Odyssey is a reference to the travels of Odysseus when he was traveling home from the Trojan War. Just a little side note from the real bookworm. Anyway, Ray checked out before the 1 p.m. checkout time on the 19th, and with the 2 children and Charles Stein made the return trip to Los Angeles, arriving by the 21st of December, when he took the first of a series of dancing lessons he had signed up for. The next day, he picked up his laundry. 4 more dancing lessons are recorded next. So he takes several dancing lessons. So this takes us through December. On December 28, 1967, Ray first indicated his interest in immigrating to Africa, and more particularly to a white ruled area, by writing a letter of inquiry to Mr. John Accord, chairman of American Southern African Council, 800 4th Street, Southwest Washington, D.C. The signature of Galt matched up with the other Galt writings. So now he's thinking about going to South Africa. How the hell did this escaped convict doing all of this? Ray said he visited Los Angeles on New Year's Day. Dance lessons are documented on the 2nd and 3rd days of 1968. Galt bought Bank of America money order number 0799-18037 in the amount of $15 from the Hollywood Western branch payable to the Locksmithing Institute. The FBI lab made the usual writing match up on the signature. Meanwhile, Ray showed up regularly for dance lessons. On January 19th, Ray signed up for a bartending course at the International School of Bartending, 2125 Sunset Boulevard. His application signature fits his other Galt signatures. So he's dancing, he's learning how to be a locksmith, and he's learning how to bartend. This is no doubt so he can play different roles in his capacity as an FBI asset. He left his laundry at the Home Service Laundry and Dry Cleaning Company at 5280 Hollywood Boulevard, City's Laundry List, number 3065, in E. Galt's name with thermoseal sticker 02B-6. The marking on the t-shirt and shorts in the bag abandoned at the front door of Knipp's Amusement Company in Memphis. On January 21st, 1968, Ray changed his lodgings to room 403 of the St. Francis Hotel, 5533 Hollywood Boulevard. On the 22nd and on the 23rd, 25th, 29th, 30th, 31st, February 1st, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 12th, Ray regularly attended dance lessons. He attended bartending school through March 2nd, 1968. He bought January 29th 2 Bank of America money orders on the 29th of January, one to place an ad in the Free Press soliciting a female pen pal, and the second to pay for a mail forwarding service. Each transaction created a handwriting match, as did a Bank of America money order payable to the Locksmithing Institute. January 31st, Little Falls, New Jersey. All this while is on the run. Ray's 1966 white Mustang with Alabama license number 1-38993, registered in Alabama under the alias Galt, was serviced on the 13th at a Chevron station, 1506 North Normatic Avenue, Los Angeles, with mileage at 34,185. That's really low. Another undated servicing some 200 miles later occurred at Court Fox Ford Company, 4531 Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles. Ray attempted to increase his social life by writing and sending his photograph to a woman listed by the local swinger, which listing was secured for $1. Ray, in fact, wrote 5 such letters. The Galt signature was added to the FBI's matchup and Ray's photograph secured. For reading material, Ray ordered books from Futura Books paying by money order. The signature matchup was made. On this day, Ray made a money order payment number 0799-19701 to the Locksmithing Institute. He sent another number 0799-19704 for the locksmith's ledger with matching signature. He sent 2 money orders and a letter order to Tiffany Enterprises, 8512 Whitworth Drive in Los Angeles, a mail order house for 1 pair of Japanese handcuffs with signatures matchable on 2 of the 3 documents. Now, this writing, trying to find a female pen pal, ordering books with sexual content in them, ordering Japanese handcuffs, all of this stuff to me seems pretty consistent with someone who broke out of jail. That this seems to be stuff that he was really legitimately just doing on his own. The man that spent 7 years in prison, he was on the run. A man, whether or not they've been in prison, is going to want the company of a female at some point. We all understand that if we're grown. And especially if he's done 7 years in prison, women will be a top priority. And the Japanese handcuffs, that probably was just for some freaky stuff. At intervals in his stay in Los Angeles, Ray had plastic surgery done to change his appearance. Whoa. Let's pump the brakes, family. Let's pump the brakes. So when he was in Los Angeles, James Earl Ray had plastic surgery done. Again, how did he afford it? And then we can say why. Obviously, he's an escaped convict, but still, the guy that ended up killing Dr. King got some plastic surgery done to change his appearance. This got the FBI all over it. This has the dirty stench of the FBI all over it. This guy's an asset. Arthur Huey puts this treatment, the plastic surgery, as on March 3rd, 7th, and 11th, 1968. Remember, Dr. King is killed in April 6th. So let's think about it. A month before Dr. King is assassinated, this guy, James Earl Ray, is getting plastic surgery done. And remember, up until this point, nothing in his history since he escaped from prison, I'm talking about what they're talking about in the documents, nothing indicates that he wants Dr. King dead. Nothing. I haven't seen anything that would indicate why he wants Dr. King dead. Look, he visited a psychologist, hypnotist, Reverend Vaughn Cost on January 4th, 1968, and allegedly some 7 other psychiatrists, hypnotists, or Scientologists. Whoa, Scientology? I didn't know Scientology was involved in this. Y'all know that group that a lot of the actors and actresses, the movie performers, the singers that are involved in the cult of Scientology. But think about it. Why is this dude meeting with psychiatrists and hypnotists? And one of these hypnotists is a Reverend Vaughn Cost. It sounds German to me. He's going through plastic surgery. He's meeting with hypnotists. Manchurian Candidate. You guys seen the movie, The Manchurian Candidate, where a dude was living his life, but they had put him under with hypnosis, and they had given him certain keywords or phrases. When he hears this word or he hears this phrase, he does specific actions. He goes here to try to kill this person or shoot this person or assassinate this person, and it's activated by this word. We see no motive yet for why he would want to kill Dr. King, but we do see him working with the FBI. I don't care what you say. We see he has money to get out of the country, back in the country, out of the country, back in the country, buy apartments, buy hotels, buy cars, get dance lessons, get locksmith lessons, pay for plastic surgery. He don't have a job. Where is the money coming from? Now he's going to see hypnotists. He's been hypnotized. If you don't see the writing on the wall, you crazy. Look, according to Arthur Huey, he frequented a bar known as the Rabbit's Foot Club, and on one night became involved in a racial argument followed by a mugging in which he had his wallet stolen and lost his suit jacket, car keys, and driver's license. According to Arthur Huey, citing Ray as his source, Ray telephoned Alabama and had a duplicate license issued. This was forwarded from his former Birmingham address to California and received there about March 10th, 1968. So I guess now they want to bring in some racial stuff. He got into a racial argument, probably got into it with some black guys. Somebody stole his wallet, stole his suit, his car keys, and his driver's license. Are they going to say that's why I wanted to kill King? I'm gonna kill Dr. King because I got my wallet stolen? Get out of here. Galt was graduating from the bartending school on the 2nd of March. His picture was taken with the school operator, and Ray closed his eyes to make recognition more difficult. A postal money order was sent to the Locksmithing Institute as a periodic payment on the correspondence course Ray was taking. The signature matchup was made. Ray listed a change of address on March 17th with the St. Francis Hotel, giving his forwarding address as General Delivery, Main Post Office, Atlanta, Georgia. Presumably, he left Los Angeles in his white Mustang on this date, proceeding to New Orleans, where he left a box of clothing for Marie Martin's little daughter, Marion DeGrasse, at Charles Stein's cousin Teresa Stone's residence. From New Orleans, Ray drove to Selma, Alabama, where Ray began to stalk Dr. King, according to Huey's statement of Ray's admission on this. And after an overnight stay there, he went on to Montgomery, to Birmingham, and finally to Atlanta, Georgia. So now we see, after the plastic surgery, after going to see the hypnotist, after all this shit that he's been doing, after all this stuff he's been doing since he's been on the run, now he goes from California to New Orleans. Then he goes from New Orleans to Selma, Alabama, and he begins to stalk Dr. King. But why? Why is he stalking Dr. King? Because he's an agent. He's an asset. He's a Manchurian candidate, and he's a patsy. In Atlanta, Ray rented room number 2 in a rooming house at 113th through 14th Street Northeast from the operator Jimmy Delton Garner. He stayed there until March 28th, on which day, while still in Atlanta, he purchased U.S. Postal money order payable to the Locksmithing Institute. The Galt signature was a matchup. On the 29th, Ray appeared at the Earl Marine Supply Company, 5701 Airport Highway in Birmingham, Alabama, and using the alias Harvey Lohmeyer, purchased a Remington 243 caliber rifle model 700 with the 2x7x Redfield telescopic sight mounted on it. So now that he's following Dr. King, he gets another alias, Harvey Lohmeyer, and he purchases a rifle. Almost certainly because the breech of the 243 caliber weapon was caked with a hardening preservative, cosmoline, and could not be loaded, Ray returned it the following day, not having fired it. He explained that his brother didn't like it and exchanged the 243 rifle for a Model 760 30-06 caliber Remington. The scope was transferred to the later rifle. Throughout these transactions, the package for either rifle was a Browning shotgun carton, which was large enough to hold the scope-equipped Remington. So now, it's less than a month before the King assassination, and he buys a rifle with a scope. The rifle is damaged. You can't load it. He takes it back. He gets another rifle. They put the scope on it. Why does he need this rifle with a scope? And why is he stalking King? There's no explanation given. The Atlanta rooming house operator, Jimmy Delton Garner, stated he had Ray print his name, Eric L. Galt, on an old envelope at Garner's request so that Garner could transfer the name properly to his official records. The hand printing is a matchup with other Galt Ray printing samples. Using the name Eric Galt, Ray left his laundry and dry cleaning at the Piedmont Laundry Pickup Station, 1168 Peachtree, NW in Atlanta. 2 days later, now this is April 3rd. This is the day before the King assassination. 2 days later, as Eric S. Galt, Ray, on April 3rd, registered into room 34 at the Rebel Motor Hotel, 3466 Lamar Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee. The distance between Atlanta and Memphis by the most convenient route is 398 miles. He gave 2608 Highland Avenue, Birmingham as his address, and he noted on the registration card that he was driving a Mustang with Alabama license. His signature was a match to the other identified Galt signatures. On this same day, Ray purchased a safety razor and shaving supplies at the Rexall drugstore in the Whitehaven suburb of Memphis. So now he's doing business in Memphis the day before King is assassinated. He got the gun. This is like a complete shift from what he's been doing. Ray left the Rebel Motel before the 1 p.m. checkout time on April 4th. At some point between 3 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. on the 4th, the day of the assassination, a man generally answering Ray's description rented room 5B at 422.5 South Main Street, Memphis, in the name of John Willard. So now we have another alias, John Willard, is who rented the room on South Main Street that is allegedly the room used to assassinate King. Ray admits to having been in the room with Raul, whom he first said rented the room using the Willard alias he, Ray, supplied. So James Earl Ray said Raul rented the room under the name of John Willard for him, Manchurian Candidate. In another letter to Huey, Ray states he himself rented the room using the alias John Willard. Ray went out to the York Arms Company store, then located at 162 South Main Street, and purchased a pair of Bushnell binoculars for a total of $41.55. Ray was identified by the salesman at York Arms, and Ray admits to having been to the sports store to having made the purchase of the binoculars. By 5 p.m. at the latest, Ray had returned to the rooming house, parked his Mustang, and had taken his zipper bag and bedspread to room 5B. By necessary inference, because it was admittedly brought down from there and dropped on the sidewalk. The 30-06 rifle had been taken up to room 5B at this time or just before Ray's trip to the York Arms Company store. This is lining up. So he's moving around buying binoculars. By 5 p.m. at the latest, he done made it back. King was killed at about 6 p.m. So there had to be someone in King's entourage keeping him at the hotel while this other stuff was being set up. There's an unseen hand here. You guys have to see it. There's an unseen hand in King's entourage manipulating the movements of King. There's an unseen hand of James Earl Ray manipulating the moves of James Earl Ray. And I believe that there was another sniper. And I believe that was Officer Reddit of the Memphis Police Department. But of course, I just came up with this theory reading these documents. I don't have anything to back that up or to substantiate that. But, hey, National Black History Month. We're reading this. We're trying to find out what happened to one of our heroes. But isn't it odd, this escaped convict, a month before trying to kill King, he just decides to come back from Mexico, from Canada. He decides to get plastic surgery. He goes to see a hypnotist After seeing this hypnotist, he starts stalking Dr. King. He's been out for over a year. If he had a vendetta or beef with King, why didn't he get on that immediately? Why go to Canada? What the fuck was he doing in Canada and Mexico? But after seeing all of these hypnotists, he starts stalking King. He gets a rifle. He gets binoculars. He meets this guy, Raul. Now remember, he initially met Raul in Canada. What the fudge is Raul doing in Memphis? Why is Raul at the hotel room in Memphis? The same guy he met in Canada. Come on, because Raul is working for the FBI. Raul is working for the FBI. Let's accept it. As detailed in the discussion of the course of the FBI investigation ante at page 48 to 50, the assassin fled from the common bathroom at the rear of the rooming house after firing the shot that killed Dr. King. The assassin could have cleared and undoubtedly did clear the corridor and the stairs to the street in about 45 seconds. In another 15 seconds at the outside, he could have reached and undoubtedly did reach Ray's white Mustang after dropping Ray's bag. The rifle Ray bought and bearing only his fingerprints and the bedspread, which Ray admits taking up to room 5B, staff reenactment. Okay, so they reenacted it. That's how they know it could have took him 45 seconds and 15 seconds to make his getaway. Now, James Earl Ray could have assassinated Dr. King. Don't get me wrong. That could very well be the case. But it could have been more than one gunman. James Earl Ray was set up as a passing. Somebody else took the shot. Then he ran. This guy has been hypnotized. Who knows? According to a post-conviction statement by Ray to then special agent in charge of the Memphis field office, Robert Jensen, rumor Charles Stevens had a good look at Ray in the rooming house. On the street, Guy Warren Knipp Jr., the guy that owned the building where the gun was found, in his place of business, Knipp Amusement Company at 424 South Main Street, heard a thud near the front door of his store, looked up to see a white male walk rapidly past his store going south, right to left, to someone inside the store, and with the two customers in his store, went to the front door where they observed a small white car, a Mustang, according to the two customers, pull away going north, left to right, from a curbside parking place just south of Knipp's store. So this hypnotized, escaped convict is in a perfect position to kill King. He has the rifle. Gunfire rings out. He flees his room. He has his gun. He has it wrapped up in a blanket. He has it in a case. He runs by Knipp Amusement Company. He drops his gun. He runs to his car, the Mustang. Boom, he drives off. We don't know now if he fired the shot or if somebody for the FBI fired the shot and he was just a patsy put in place to take the fall. According to Ray's admission to Arthur Huey, Ray, and this is the day of the assassination, Ray drove south into Mississippi and then turned east through Birmingham, reaching Atlanta about 6 a.m. on April 5th. He abandoned the white Mustang. On the table in the room at the Atlanta rooming house, he left a letter about South Africa from the John Birch Society in California and a copy of the Free Press from Los Angeles to divert the FBI's attention to California while he fled to Canada. So he's trying to flee back to Canada. Ray picked up his laundry at the Piedmont Laundry Pickup Station at 1168 Peachtree, Northeast in Atlanta on the 5th of April, the day after the murder. He then took a bus departing Atlanta just after noon on the 5th and arrived in Cincinnati at about 1:30 a.m. on the 6th of April. After a 1-hour layover, which he stated he spent in a tavern near the bus depot, Ray continued by bus to Detroit, where he arrived at about 8 a.m. He crossed by taxi into Canada, arriving in Windsor about an hour or so before noon, and proceeded from there to Toronto by train, arriving at about 5 p.m. He rented a room at 102 Ossington Avenue without giving his name. How the hell do you rent a room without giving your name? But anyway, so King gets killed. Ray drives from Memphis to Mississippi. He goes to Atlanta. Then he goes to, from Atlanta, he goes to Cincinnati. From Cincinnati, he goes to Detroit. And from Detroit, he goes into Canada. Again, this escaped convict makes it all the way out of the country. And you think he didn't have any help? Don't be a fool. On the 8th of April, Ray began the process of securing a Canadian passport. He picked two names. Now he got more names. Paul Edward Bridgman and Raymond George Sneed. From the announcements of births in newspapers from the year 1932 at the public library. So he got these names. These are real people names that he just took. He made an application for a duplicate birth certificate in each of these names on April 10th, and on the following day had a passport picture taken in the name of Bridgman, and then to provide a separate mailing address for the expected replies as to Sneed, he rented a room at 962 Dundas Street in the name of Sneed on April 16th. So he still has money for these taxis, these bus trips, to go to another country, to rent rooms, to get the duplicate birth certificates, to change his name. And you guys think he was a lone gunman, a lone wolf? Heck no. On the same day, he executed an application in the name Paul Bridgman with his, Ray's, 102 Ossington Avenue address as the person to be notified in case of emergency. The Kennedy Travel Agency of Toronto handled the processing of the application for Ray. On the 19th, Ray moved to the Dundas Street address. How is he paying for these apartments and hotels? That's the $1 million question. How is he paying for this stuff? You get what I'm saying? Where is he getting the money from? He getting the money from Raul. The fingerprints of Eric S. Galt were found to be a match with those of James Earl Ray after a search of the print file on fugitive felons. According to Arthur Huey, he gleaned from Ray that Ray visited 4 bars on the 21st in order to watch the TV show The FBI. He found the show tuned in at the 4th place he tried and learned that he had made the 10 most wanted list with an international lookout as to Ray. He checked out of the Ossington Avenue room on the 19th. On April 24th, the Canadian passport in the name of Raymond George Sneed was issued to Ray. So this is crazy. This fugitive makes it back to Canada. Now he has 2 different passports with 2 different fake names. Fake names that he just made up after the assassination of Dr. King. So now this guy has about 5 or 6 different aliases with documents for all of them. How is he pulling this off? James Earl Ray, of course, he was not the smartest. He wasn't the sharpest tool in the drawer. He couldn't have been. How is he doing this? How? He working with the FBI. Goddamn, man, this is crazy. I didn't know this was this intricate. I didn't know this was this intricate. This is so obvious. This is so obvious. He was a patsy, and he was an asset for the FBI. This is obvious, family. This is obvious. Ray purchased a round-trip ticket to London and deported on May 6, 1968. Remember, I told you, dude went, not only did he go to Canada, Mexico, he went all the way to London, England. From London, Ray took a plane to Lisbon, where he spent 10 days looking for a passage to Angola. Now he's trying to make it to Africa. How the fuck is he paying for these trips? Where is he getting the money from? When he was unable to do so, when he was unable to get to Angola, so he returned to London after first getting his passport replaced at the Canadian Embassy in Lisbon to correct the spelling of the name Sneed instead of Sneer. So they spelled his name, his fake name, wrong on his fake passport, and he got him to correct it at the Canadian Embassy, no less. And remember, they want us to believe that when he was in Canada the first time, he robbed a place for $1,700 to make ends meet. But he just shows back up, no harm, no foul. Goes to London, no harm, no foul. With guns. He's carrying guns on him. Come on, man. Don't be naive. He returned to London and spent his time trying to find a way to join a mercenary force. What the fuck? A mercenary force? Hitman for hire? Get the hell out of here. To this end, he bought a plane ticket to Brussels and was in the process of meeting his plane at the Heathrow Airport when he was apprehended on June 8, 1968 by detectives from New Scotland Yard. The arrest was made on the basis of use of a fraudulent passport and carrying a concealed weapon, i.e. the loaded 38 caliber Japanese make revolver found on his person at Heathrow. Damn. So here is when the FBI decides to pull the plug on this asset. He served his purpose. He's been on the run for over a year now, going wherever he wanted to go, doing whatever he wanted to do, purchasing whatever he wanted to purchase. He had an endless supply of money. He was able to upgrade hotels when he was in Mexico. Oh, it's a cheap room. I want a better room. He was able to get any name he wanted, any driver's license he wanted, any license plate he wanted, any passport he wanted. The man had about 5 or 6 verifiable names. But after the King assassination, they let him go to Canada. They let him go to London. He's moving around in London. J. Edgar Hoover say, okay, time to pull the plug. Yeah, let's pick him up. Let's lock him up. Because now, what you have to understand, now the public needs a suspect. Dr. King has been killed. America doesn't know what's going to happen. There could be mass riots in the street. The African-American population can rise up. They want to know who killed their hero. Dr. King was their hero. He was the most recognizable figure in the civil rights movement. We all know that other people was involved in the civil rights movement, but let's not play games with history. Dr. King, whether it's right or wrong, Dr. King is the most well-known figure in civil rights history in America. When you say you can't say civil rights without saying Dr. King, that's just the truth. Hate it or love it. History is written in stone. You can try to change it, but it's a lie. But the reality of history is written in stone. Dr. King and civil rights, it just go hand in hand at this point, baby. That's truth. So he's been killed. They got to give him somebody. He was the patsy all along. You think the FBI gave a damn about him? Bro, you was just doing 20 years. You know, you served 7 years on the 20-year sentence. You probably was going to serve the whole 20. We let you get out. We let you bounce around. We let you go here. We let you go there. We let you go here. We let you go there. We worked with you. You lived it up. Now you ask time for you to go back to prison. Now you keep your mouth shut or, you know, you're going to get the death penalty. and they've already hypnotized them because they made him go to their hypnotist. He's already been hypnotized to be a Manchurian candidate. We don't even know if he fired the shot. He's the patsy. This chronology has been compiled from data in FBI reports and Ray's letters to author William Bradford Huey. It was hoped by the task force that we would have an opportunity to go over the facts with James Earl Ray himself. Accordingly, after the United States Supreme Court denied his petition for a writ of certiorari, look like a Latin word, on December 13, 1976, a verbal request was made to Ray's attorney, James H. Lasar, for an opportunity to interview Ray. Lasar stated that he was writing Ray a letter that day and would advise him of our desire to interview him and leave the matter up to him. So now the FBI is saying, oh, you know what? We want to interview James Earl Ray to get his side of the story. Blah, 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 blah. He was working for you, FBI. Also, the task force sent Ray a letter on December 15, 1976 via his attorney requesting an interview. While no answer to our letter was received, Ray sent the task force a copy of a letter addressed to his attorney. Ray attached a copy of a complaint he recently filed in a civil action and stated in the letter to his attorney that I agree with your advice opposing the interview. It would appear that this would only be in the interest of the JD, I'm assuming that's Justice Department, and their book writing collaborators, e.g. Gerald Frank, George McMillan, etc. Absent a statement to us from Ray, 4 existing Ray explanations were compared and here briefly noted. So now they're going to look at some explanations why he did what he did. He did what he did because he was an FBI asset, period. First, no one other than his attorneys talked with Ray before the plea bargaining resulted in his conviction of the first-degree murder of Martin Luther King Jr. In sentencing in open court on March 10, 1969, before Judge W. Preston Battle, Criminal Court of Shelby County, Tennessee. At that time, on voir dire, Judge Battle asked Ray, are you pleading guilty to murder in the first degree in this case because you killed Dr. Martin Luther King under such circumstances that will make you legally guilty of murder in first degree under the law as explained to you by your lawyers? Ray answered, yes. Ray then acknowledged that he was pleading guilty freely, voluntarily, and understandingly. He and his attorney, Percy Foreman, initialed the copy of these questions and answers. Ray also signed a detailed stipulation confessing that he fired the fatal shot. Now, we got to take stuff like this with a grain of salt because anytime you plead, those are the questions that they ask, and you have to say yes. You have to say yes. I went to prison for I got 5 years for 2 robberies that I pled guilty to, right? I pled guilty, and part of my plea, I received 5 years in prison. Now, one of those robberies, it wasn't even my idea for the robbery, but I was there. I didn't stop it. I was there. You know, I could be guilty. The second robbery, I wasn't even there. Didn't even know it was taking place. Was minding my own business. Just cops showed up, arrested me. And it just so happened that since I was involved in a robbery earlier that night, right, I got charged with that robbery too. Even though the guy that got robbed said, oh no, it was only one guy that robbed me. He wasn't the guy that robbed me. Me and my friend, 2 people got charged with a robbery that the victim said only one person committed. But if you look at the transcripts, I pled guilty because it was like, okay, I want to get this 5-year sentence. I don't want to get a 10-year sentence, and I don't want to go to trial and get hung. Okay, I know I've done some bad stuff in my life. You got me on one of these robberies. You offering me 5 years. I think I can do 5 years. You know, I'm gonna take the plea. Sometimes people take the plea on stuff that they didn't necessarily do because they did other stuff anyway. And they're like, you know what? With the other stuff that I did do, this can be worse. Remember, this is an escaped convict. He already has 20 years. He already has to be charged with the escape. This guy's already finna get time anyway. You feel me? He's already finna get time anyway. At the very least, he has to go back and finish that 20-year sentence, and he's going to do the whole 20 now that he's escaped. Ain't no parole for you, buddy. You escaped after 7 years. You're about to do that other 13. And they can charge him with the escape. And then they have all this stuff. Bro, then you rob somebody here, you rob somebody here, you made these fake passports. We got all these charges against you. You finna do the next 50 years in jail, whether you like it or not. But with this king assassination, we can also give you the death penalty. So either you go ahead and admit to killing King and we'll give you life, or we're just going to give you death. But even if he fought the king assassination and won, he never was going to get out of jail again. That's why they used him as a patsy. So they played him. They knew, okay, you're an escaped convict, you're doing all this stuff, you're getting all these fake passports, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're going here, you're an internationally known criminal, you're going to jail for the rest of your life anyway. Do you want to go to jail for the rest of your life, or do you want the death penalty? And he was like, nah, I don't want the death penalty. I want to go to jail for the rest of my life. But okay, plead guilty to killing Dr. King. We already set you up, hypnotized you, make you buy a gun, make you got a hotel room. You've been dealing with Raul. You were there. Whether you fired the shot or not, you were there. We can convict you anyway because they set him up. He pleads guilty. This is some of my theory. And he may have shot Dr. King. Like, he literally may have been hypnotized to do it. He could have fired the shot. But I still want to look at Officer Reddit, the black cop. Officer Reddit, you're not off the hook. I'm going to do a deep dive into you, brother. It was a cop named Officer Reddit who was working undercover for the Memphis Police Department. He may have been the actual assassin. We may uncover a decades old conspiracy. Let's go on. Anyway, the task force observes that the only way one can be legally guilty of first-degree murder is when one accomplishes or aids or assists in the accomplishment of the wrongful killing of a human being with premeditation and malice afterthought. Thus, Ray has judicially confessed that he intended to and did kill Dr. King. We still don't know why. We still don't know why this escaped prisoner just bought a rifle and went to go kill him after seeing a hypnotist. Now, second, Ray related in writing to Arthur Huey a story of his odyssey. Remember, I explained that word to you guys. From Missouri State Prison to Memphis, which acknowledged that he bought the murder weapon, made his way to Memphis, rented the room there, at 422 South Main on April 4th, 1968, using the alias John Willard, waited in the white Mustang, and drove Raul away from the crime scene after the murder, wholly unaware of the killing of Dr. King. Whoa, whoa, whoa. In this version, Raul is the mysterious killer whom Ray thought to be an international gun runner. Ray bought the murder weapon for Raul, thinking it was to be displayed to prospective Mexican buyers in room 5B of the Flop House on South Main Street. Okay, now, let's examine this theory. Let's examine this theory, family. Let's examine it. I wonder if he ever gave a description of, it says no description. I wish you would have gave a description of Raul, because if Raul was a black man, he the officer freaking read it. So look, so now Ray is saying Raul was there when the crime took place. And when he fled the scene in the Mustang, Raul was with him. Do y'all see this? I know y'all see this. So he says, Raul tells him, which makes sense. Raul, this international gun runner, Raul says, hey man, look, I need you to go buy this particular type of gun. We're going to go to this hotel here. I got some buyers that's interested. We're going to sell them this gun in this hotel. Some buyers from Mexico. Remember, didn't James Earl Ray go to Mexico? Meeting with 2 women in Mexico? Now, all of a sudden, he's saying that he thought that he was supposed to be selling that rifle that he bought to some people from Mexico. Remember, how did he get to Mexico? Why did he go to Mexico? Went to Mexico and came back. Why did he go to Mexico and come back? Because he was in Mexico handling business for Raul. And Raul, FBI agent, working for the FBI, obviously. So he says, James Earl Ray says, I'm in the room 5B, to sell a gun. Shot goes off. He don't even know that Dr. King just got killed, but hey, we got to shake the spot. He runs, he dumps the gun, jumps in the Mustang, he drives off with Raul. Wow. That's what Ray said. That's what James Earl Ray said. Raul was there when the murder happened. He was tricked and manipulated into going into room 5B with that gun. They told him he was going to sell the gun to somebody from Mexico. He already had contacts in Mexico. It's all making sense. We know it was a conspiracy. Come on, man. Why would James Earl Ray want to kill Dr. King? They haven't explained it. They haven't explained why James Earl Ray would want to kill Dr. King. But the FBI has admitted that they wanted to neutralize King. They wanted to stop King. They hated King, so the FBI hates King. James Earl Ray hasn't had any interactions with King, but James Earl Ray is the killer. Please. Wow. In this version, I'm going to read this whole paragraph again. I want this to sizzle in your spirit. The second theory. Ray related. This is coming from James Earl Ray himself. Now, you know, he could be a goddamn liar, this escaped convict, but let's listen to what he has to say. When he said he was guilty, the courts believed that. He thought he was telling the truth. Let's listen to this. Ray related in writing to Arthur Huey a story of his odyssey from Missouri State Prison to Memphis. He told him everything that he had done from escaping prison to when he showed up in Memphis and Dr. King got killed, which acknowledged that he bought the murder weapon. He admitted he bought the murder weapon. Made his way to Memphis. He bought the murder weapon. He went to Memphis. Rented the room at 422 South Main on April 4th, 1968. Yeah, I bought the murder weapon. I took it to Memphis. I got the room on the same day that King was killed, using the alias John Willard. Now, that's interesting because, now think about it. James Earl Ray had about 5 or 6 different aliases. So he uses an alias that he's never used before and that he doesn't even have any documents for. That's interesting. This new alias, John Willard, came up out the blue. Waited in the white Mustang and drove Raul away from the crime scene after the murder, wholly unaware of the killing of Dr. King. So he's saying he wasn't even up there in the room. He was in the white Mustang, his white Mustang. He was waiting for Raul to sell the gun, come back out, and then they drove off. They drove the freak off in the Mustang. Now, Raul may look similar to James Earl Ray. They may look similar in build, height, weight, and that may be why they use Raul to be his contact. Maybe. In this version, Raul is the mysterious killer whom Ray thought to be an international gun runner. Remember, he said he met him in Canada. Ray bought the murder weapon for Raul, thinking it was to be displayed to prospect Mexican buyers in room 5B of the Flop House on South Main Street. So Ray thinking, we just here to sell a gun, which is probably what he'd been doing, because remember, I keep telling you guys, where was he getting the money from? Where was James Earl Ray getting the money from to live his lifestyle? He was getting it from this Raul guy. He was working for Raul. All along, Raul was using him as an FBI asset. He was a patsy. Now look, third, let's look at another. It's 4 different ideas. Third, in a statement read on a program of station KMDX TV, St. Louis, Missouri, in August of 1969 by his brother Jerry. So now we got a statement by the brother of James Earl Ray. Let's see what he says. James Earl Ray was quoted as alleging that he was the innocent victim, the fall guy of a scheme by the FBI. This description of the crime contains no reference to Raul. So even the brother of James Earl Ray says that his brother was the fall guy, aka the patsy of a scheme by the FBI. And what makes more sense to you? The FBI wants to neutralize him, not James Earl Ray. The fourth theory. The most recent story available to the task force is reported as the result of a 4-hour interview by Wayne Chastain Jr. for the Pacific Ray, however, drove away from the area at about 6 p.m. to get air in a low tire and found police swarming all over the place when he tried to return at 7:05 p.m. He could not park, was turned back by police, and learned only after driving 100 miles into Mississippi that he had been associated with the men who killed Dr. King. The Assassinations, Dallas and Beyond. Edited by Peter Dale Scott, Paul L. Hawk, and Russell Settler. Random House, 1976, page 315 to 317. That is the source. The task force views the exculpatory content of these varying and patently self-serving tales to be unbelievable. So they're saying that, James Earl Ray is just making this stuff up because he doesn't want to take responsibility for the murder of Dr. King. He's just making all this up. He's making all this up because he doesn't want to take responsibility for the assassination of Dr. King. BS. BS, family. We call him BS here at Matthew Daniels TV. We call him BS. BS. The varying details are materially self-refuting. Ray first admits full guilt. He then says he waited innocently at the curb and took off after the shot with Raul as a passenger. He next says he was the cat's paw of the FBI. And finally, he and the Mustang were not in the area when the shot was fired, and he never saw Raul after the event. So they're trying to say that discrepancies in his story means it's all one big lie. But remember, even the cops themselves, the tactical unit, when I went over the documents in part 3, the tactical unit that was on scene when Dr. King got killed, the cops had varying stories about what they did, when they did it, and how they did it. And they tried to make excuses. You see? But listen, I'm of the belief that Raul is real. Otherwise, we need a better explanation for why James Earl Ray wanted to kill Dr. King. We have to explain how he was able to go from state to state, city to city, country to country. Where did he get his money from? How did he get all of these fake fraudulent documents that he got? How did he go to Mexico and back? How did he go to Canada and back? How did he go to London and back? How did he do these things without a job? And James Earl Ray, is clearly confessing that, hey, man, look, listen, man, I was working with this dude named Raul. I thought Raul was an international gun dealer. This is where I was getting the money from. He was giving me money to do this and do that and do this. The only reason I was in Memphis is because Raul said we was going to go to Memphis to sell a rifle to some Mexicans. Doesn't that make more sense than he went there to kill Dr. King? Why the fudge would he want to kill Dr. King? But if you ask, why would he want to work with Raul to sell some guns? That makes more sense. That makes more sense. The eyewitnesses to the getaway saw only one man who resembled Ray. Now, these eyewitnesses, not only could they, think about it, not only could they have been working for the FBI, they could have been in on it. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Remember what I told you guys. Dr. King's chauffeur was likely an informant. Some of the reverends that got Dr. King to come to Memphis were working with the police. Yes, the reverends, regular citizens, they were working with the police. They had people in Dr. King's entourage that was working with the police. It's documented. Then you have some quote-unquote black power groups that were working in tandem with Dr. King for the sanitation workers strike in Memphis. And these black power groups have been infiltrated by the federal government. So don't be naive. If the federal government and the Memphis Police Department has black people who are working with the government to get Dr. King, do you think that they didn't have white people working with the federal government to get Dr. King? If you have a black reverend willing to sell out Dr. King in the civil rights movement, do you really think there isn't some white people willing to sell out Dr. King in the civil rights movement? Open your eyes. Like, they will not, the FBI did not only get black people to betray Dr. King, they had white people working for him too, family. They had undercover black people working with them, and they had undercover white people working with them. Let's not be foolish. So even the guy that was the owner of the Knips Amusement Company, he was probably working with the government as well. Maybe it was his job to say, I only saw one person in the car. Do you understand what I'm telling you? When you have an assassination, when you plan on an assassination, let me explain something to you guys. Or any crime, let me explain something to you guys. Because maybe you've never broken the law. Maybe you've never done anything outside of the law. Well, I have. Shame on me. First, if you're going to commit like a robbery or something like that, or if you're going to try to shoot somebody or something like that, if you want to do anything outside of the law, first, you want to, the area that you're going to carry out this crime in, you want to do what they call casing it. Now, that's the legit term for it, casing. You case the area. You look, you see, okay, what's around here? Okay, I'm going to pull up here. I'm going to do this. After I fire the shots, after I commit the robbery, how am I going to escape? You're going to look around. Okay, I can go up this road, up this street, across this bridge, and boom, then I can get to a safe spot. You case the area. You make the plan. That's just what you do. And then you contemplate, how can I get caught? Okay, I can get caught if A, B, and C, D happens. Now, the FBI is the Federal Bureau of Investigations. The Federal Bureau of Investigations. The operative word in this particular instance is investigations. They investigate crimes. They know what to look for. They know the questions that will be asked. So they know, okay, if this crime is committed, and we have this getaway, we have James Earl Ray and we have Raul, is going to muddy the waters if the witnesses say I saw two people in the car making the getaway. Okay, we need to get somebody that can give the story that we want, that's going to say, oh, there's only one person in the car, so James Earl Ray is on his own. You set all of that stuff up. And we know that they set it up because, again, some of the black people that were standing next to Dr. King were working with the police and the government. So you better believe that they had white people working with the police and the federal government, period. Look, the eyewitnesses to the getaway saw only one man who resembled Ray. The man left in a hurry in a white Mustang, as Ray admitted doing in version number 2. We concluded Ray was lying about the existence of Raul. Ray's stipulated judicial confession comports in detail with the facts disclosed by the investigation, and the failure of the self-serving stories persuasively undermines the likelihood of any conspiracy. So there was no conspiracy. So here we're going to get into what looks like the motive. Let me see how long I've been. Let me check and see how long I've been live. I might end it here instead of going into the motives. I may save the motive. Okay, yeah, we almost on 2 hours. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end part 4 here. And when I come back with part 5, we're going to talk about the motive of James Earl Ray, because that's something that I keep asking about. Why would he even want to kill Dr. King? But we'll read the first paragraph just so we can get an idea of the information that we're going to get into next. James Earl Ray, born 1928, was raised under difficult circumstances. His parents were poor, uneducated, and generally resided in areas surrounded by criminal activity. Ray did not achieve a high school education, nor did he attend any vocational institution. After enlisting in the Army in 1946, Ray did not meet the military standards and was discharged in 1948 for lack of adaptability. I told you guys he had a military background. There you see it. So what we're going to do, I think we're going to end it right here. And when I come back for part 5, we're going to look at the motives of James Earl Ray. Okay, I hope you guys are loving this series that we're doing for National Black History Month. We're going to be looking at these declassified Dr. King assassination files. I appreciate President Trump and anybody else that had a hand in declassifying these files and making them available to the general public so that we can read them and go over them. And remember, our position here on Matthew Daniels TV is still that James Earl Ray was a patsy. He had to have help. Nobody can go from state to state, city to city, country to country, buying cars, getting hotels, going to see psychiatrists, being hypnotized, and not have help. Not have help. And he plainly said that his help came from a man named Raul. And we believe here on Matthew Daniels TV that Raul was an FBI agent. Okay? And we keep asking, why would James Earl Ray even want to kill Dr. King? We haven't seen anything about that yet. So we're going to go into his motives when I come back with part 5. I want to thank you guys for taking this journey with me. Shout out to Dr. King, his life, his legacy. We're looking into this thing the best we can, and we're trying to uncover it. May your name live on forever. May your memory never die. Dr. King, what you did was great. So I want to thank you guys for tapping in. Make sure if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And if you feel led by the spirit, the Cash App is $ The Real Bookworm. If you want to just say, hey, thank you for the work that you put in. $1, $2, $5, $10, $20. Anything is appreciated, or nothing at all. You could just hit the like button. That's support as well. Okay, so we're about to tap out now. And remember, we're going to come back with part 5, where we're going to look at the motives of James Earl Ray. May your name live on forever. May your memory never die. Hotep, I'm out.